is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision, or have another print disability, which makes reading, holding a book, or turning a page difficult or impossible. The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Hello, this is Karen, and for the next hour, I'll be reading from the East Aurora Advertiser on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. And it's the Thursday, January 1st, 2026 issue. Okay, our first story is Winter Belongs to Us, A Life Less Serious by Jane Sullivan. There are places some winter feels like something to survive. And then there is Western New York, where winter is simply a part of who we are. Here in East Aurora, we don't panic at a snow forecast. We are snow people. We check the temperature, look out the window, and make a few quiet calculations in our heads. Do we need boots or just sturdy shoes? Is this a quick shovel and leave a few minutes early kind of morning, or a better break out the snowblower situation? January especially has its own vibe. The holidays are behind us, the decorations are packed away, and the calendar suddenly looks much emptier. The lights are still turned on early, and most days feel like they start and end in the dark. But there is also something calming about this stretch of time. Life has slowed down just enough to let us catch our breath and find time to catch up with each other and our to-do lists. In East Aurora, winter has its own rhythm. You see it in the way people bundle up and head out to school for winter sports and drama productions, or throw on shorts and a hoodie for a quick run to the grocery store. You hear it in the hum of the coffee shops and bakeries where neighbors linger a little longer, warming their hands around mugs and catching up on town news. You see it in the locally owned business as they tidy up their shops from the holiday rush and take inventory while chatting with customers looking for a post-holiday deal on something red that could double for a Valentine trinket. The library feels cozier in January too, almost like it knows it has an important job to do this time of year. A good book will transport you to a tropical beach or exotic getaway, if only for the afternoon. Winter also brings out quiet kindness. Someone clears the sidewalk in front of your house before you get to it. A neighbor checks in after a storm. A stranger holds the door a little longer when your arms are full. These are small things, but they add up and they matter. Of course, there are people who truly love winter. The hockey players, skiers, and snowboarders wait all year for it. They watch the weather and celebrate every fresh snowfall. This year we have the Winter Olympics, though we still have to wait for February for them to arrive. I have come to appreciate what winter gives us, permission to slow down. January reminds us that not every season is meant for rushing or reinventing ourselves, despite the New Year's resolutions to the contrary. Some seasons are for settling in, for easy routines, for quiet moments that don't need to be particularly productive to be meaningful. Winter also reminds us who we are as a community. We show up, we help each other out, we make do, we make plans, and we make the best of what we have. There is something reassuring about it. January can feel long, the days can feel short, but there is also comfort in knowing that we've done this before and will do it again. This is a cycle of where we live and who we are. So reread that favorite book, rewatch that favorite movie. Take the time to call and catch up with an old friend. Winter belongs to us here in East Aurora, and in its own quiet way, it reminds us that we belong to each other too. Okay, next we have Let's see here, 1 second. Next we have Rotary Reflects on East Aurora Wonderland. The 3 December weekends of the Rotary Club's East Aurora Wonderland was a success. While numbers are hard to estimate, organizers agree that a steady stream of visitors had come to the Roycroft campus to enjoy the intimate European-style marketplace on the Great Lawn. There, 10 small chalets, constructed by Rotary and community volunteers and arranged in a circle in front of the print shop, had created a holiday marketplace in a village setting with food, drink, crafts, and gifts for sale by 80 vendors over the 8 days. A 20-foot tall spruce tree donated by Anna and Patrick Blizniak stood at the center of the village, which had been made festive with fresh pine garlands by Christina Affinity of Blue Violet, lights strung throughout, ice sculptures, a wreath-building station, and alpacas. Music, scheduled and impromptu, played on the Dave Nojam community stage. That is, when Santa Claus himself wasn't interviewing youngsters about their Christmas wishes. There was just one piece of the business left to take care of before the Rotary Club could close the books on the first of many the club hopes East Aurora Wonderlands. On Tuesday, December 23rd, Mayor Peter Mercurio pulled the winning entry from the raffle tickets Rotarians had sold at Wonderland, announcing that Steve Taylor of Forestville in Chautauqua County had won the grand prize, a deluxe bubble hockey game featuring the Sabres and Maple Leafs playing in a realistic arena, complete with Jumbotron sound effects and play-by-play from the legendary Rick Jenneret. The drawing also gave the Advertiser an opportunity to catch up with one of the Wonderland organizers, Rotary past president Joel Brandon, whose marketing agency, All These Wonders, designed and produced the experience. So many people had a hand in making Wonderland work, Brandon said. It really started with Aurora Town Councilman Luke Wojcinski and his wife Katea. She is from Russia, and both she and Luke have spent a lot of time in Eastern Europe, where these winter markets are fairly common. She suggested that we have one here, and a year ago we began having meetings to make it happen. I think there were a number of Rotarians who were understandably hesitant at first because of the cost and the risk of the project. I created a business plan to anticipate expenses and revenue, and we opted Wonderland and went to work. Roycroft Campus Corporation Executive Director Kurt Maranto bought into the idea without hesitation. It's something I've envisioned for the campus, bringing the public to Roycroft. I know lots of people attending the winter market also shopped at our copper shop and went across the street to the Roycroft Inn for drinks or a meal. It was a positive for everyone involved. Town of Aurora Highway Superintendent Dave Gunner really stepped up, Brandon said. He offered to let us use some space in a town garage to construct the 4-foot by 8-foot chalets. His crews trucked the finished chalets to the Roycroft. As early as late October, there were volunteers, many from the Friends of Knox Farm, led by Rotarian and builder Jack Thiessen, constructing the chalets, retired guys with nail guns, as they were referred to. They made it happen, and the 10 chalets arrived on time. Dave Gunner will store the chalets on the Highway Department's property. We will use them next year, and we want the public to know that the chalets are available to other groups that have an event. It's too early to know exactly how much the Rotary will realize from Wonderland vendor fees, the raffle, and sponsorships, but it should be a substantial amount that they will use for their charitable support of organizations across the community. We have proof of concept, Brandon said. That's important. We learned that this is something that people like and will support, and it's good for the Rotary Club, since we are always looking for new members. Check out the photos on the Rotary's website, earotary.org, or our Facebook page. Okay, our next article is Wales files appeal in Article 78 case. Judge rules in favor of nonprofit. Erie County Supreme Court ruled on December 5th in favor of a nonprofit from Niagara County that filed a lawsuit against the town of Wales in May 2025 regarding a zoning variance. Earlier in the year, a nonprofit called Niagara Semper Fidelia Incorporated sought a zoning variance for a property located at 12449 Centerline Road. It was purchased in 2023 by Niagara Semper Fidelis Incorporated and Jacek Mazer for $1.5 million. Mazer is a vicar at Blessed Sacrament Church on Delaware Avenue in Buffalo, and he is listed as the president of the business, which serves as an organization that dedicates itself to building and sustaining healthy communities and enhancing productivity and quality of life. During Zoning Board of Appeals, ZBA, meetings last spring, Mazer said that the property would be used a few times a year as a safe place for women and children who need a break from their living situation. Volunteers from Niagara Semper Fidelis would stay with them, take care of the property, and cook meals. Neighbors spoke out at public meetings against granting the variance. Zoning Code 208-28 says that properties located in agricultural districts may be used as one-family dwellings. The definition of dwelling under the zoning code for Wales says a building used as the living quarters for one or more families, but not including a boarding house or rooming house, hotel or lodging house, or motel. After a vote, the ZBA unanimously agreed to deny the variance because it did not meet the definition of a one-family dwelling. The applicant should have had a preliminary understanding of the codes prior to the purchase, Chairman Edward Wilkolaski said after the decision was announced in May. You knew when it was purchased what you wanted to do with it, and you could have inquired about an interpretation of what was a single-family unit is. Documents from the court say that the court annuls and vacates the May 1, 2025 determination of the Board of the Town of Wales Zoning Board of Appeals on the grounds that it was arbitrary and capricious. Accordingly, the Zoning Board of Appeals determination dated May 1, 2025 is annulled and declared void and without effect. The paperwork also says that this variance request should return to the Wales Town Board for a decision. Town Attorney Phyllis Todaro said that the town will file an appeal in the decision. The Town Board will meet again at 7 p.m. January 13th at the Wales Town Hall, located at 12345 Big Tree Road. And you are listening to a reading of articles and features from the East Aurora Advertiser on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Okay, our next article is titled Golf Barn Resurfaces with Revised Plan. After more than a year since the original application was submitted, a golf barn proposed for Olean Road with revisions is back in the conversation for Town of Aurora officials. Following site plan and special use permit approvals from the Planning Commission earlier this month, the Aurora Town Board discussed the revised application for 600 Olean Road with applicant Harrison Kelly and architect Greg Schneider at their December 16th work session. According to the draft minutes of the Planning Commission, the plan will include 9 holes of golf on the main floor of the building and 9 holes on the lower floor. The outer miniature golf has been tabled. A fair amount has changed. The building has a smaller footprint, Kelly said. Department of Environmental Conservation regulation changes made this year have reduced the usable space on the property, and Department of Health regulations to the septic system required further amendments to the building. These amendments resulted in the removal of a full-size commercial kitchen to be replaced with a smaller catering kitchen. The kitchen will not have a fryer, but will still have a grease trap. The project is working with Labella Associates to create a barrier that will include trees and fencing between the established wetlands and the disturbed land. We did work to not build in the most heavily treed areas, Schneider said. We knew from the start that there would be some trees we would need to take out, Kelly said. The vast majority of what's contained in that area is dead standing wood. Kelly said that he has been working with Murray Brothers Nursery to develop a list of native trees, shrubs, and flowers to landscape the area. We want it to look like the building has been there, Kelly said. We want it to fit the topography to look like it has been on this road for 200 years. Kelly also said that he was planning to contact Buffalo Niagara Waterkeeper to help with the removal of a sizable amount of garbage that has been dumped near a culvert on the property. The last time this project had been reviewed by the board had asked for additional information on fencing, signage, and lighting on the property. Kelly said that there would be a split rail fence along Olean Road that would extend to the driveway, as well as fencing along the south side of the development area that would be interspersed with trees. There will be one sign north of the driveway that will be illuminated from the front. Energy-efficient LED lighting along the driveway and walkways would be installed. They would be downward-facing lights, and the walkway lighting is low to the ground. Kelly said the lighting would be low compared to the lights in the West Hare overflow parking lot across the street. Council member Joseph McCann asked what the approximate timeline for the project would be, but at this time it's unknown. There have been so many curveballs thrown at this project, I'd honestly hazard a guess, Kelly said. A public hearing will be set at a future meeting regarding the site plan and special use permit for the golf barn. The Aurora Town Board will meet again at 6:30 Monday, January 12th at the Aurora Municipal Center on Oakwood Avenue. Okay, next is the Aurora Police Report. Caregiver theft leads to felony charges. A suspected larceny was reported by an 82-year-old female from East Aurora on Wednesday, December 10th. According to the report, the complainant stated that a 49-year-old female from East Aurora and the listed subject has been taking money from her bank account to make personal purchases that she was not authorized to make over an extended period of time dating back several months. The complainant stated that the subject is her caretaker and employed through her own private business. The complainant also stated that she gave permission for the subject to drive the complainant's personal vehicle and provided her with a bank debit card authorizing her to make purchases in regards to groceries, hygiene-related items, and other personal necessities. On the date of the report, the complainant's bank contacted her, notifying her of two purchases of $1,000 and $500 respectively. The complainant stated that she did not authorize those transactions. The complainant also stated that she wanted to withdraw permission of the subject using her vehicle. The report says that the contact was made with the subject, who stated the transactions were in relation to a Christmas bonus agreed to verbally by both parties, as well as an amount to finish out the terms of her contract. The complainant stated that was false and no agreement was ever made. The subject returned the vehicle key to the complainant. The complainant was advised to get an inquiry of the unauthorized purchases from her bank that were made by the subject. In a supplementary report, the subject, Kristen Podless, came to the station on December 23rd. She was Mirandized and refused to answer any questions. Podless was arrested and processed. She was arraigned on 2 counts of felony grand larceny in the 3rd degree and released on her own recognizance. A stay-away order of protection was issued on behalf of the complainant. Weapons surrendered. A 53-year-old male from East Aurora surrendered a shotgun to police on Sunday, December 7th. According to the report, the complainant was met in the garage and turned over the shotgun. The complainant stated that the gun was given to him a while ago by an individual who no longer wanted it. The complainant has no use for it. He also stated he believes that the weapon is a Dutch duck hunting rifle, but has no further information. A property receipt was issued. There was no serial number observed on the firearm, but a name is engraved on the face of the stock. The firearm was placed into evidence. Property found. A Village of East Aurora Department of Public Works employee turned in a watch that was found in the 600 block of Main Street on Monday, December 8th. The watch was placed into an evidence locker for safekeeping. Mental health transport. An out-of-control child who was hitting his mother and screaming while she was driving was reported at 2 p.m. Tuesday, December 9th. According to the report, the 8-year-old male child was diagnosed with intermittent explosive disorder and oppositional defiant disorder. Upon arrival, the child was located in his parents' vehicle, which is pulled over on Girard Avenue. The parent, a 56-year-old female from Orchard Park, was standing outside. The parent stated that she was traveling to her ex-wife's house in Lackawanna when the child reportedly became belligerent and began to yell at her and hit her in her shoulder and neck multiple times. While attempting to speak with the child, he exited the vehicle and continued to hit the parent, attempted to walk into traffic multiple times, and repeatedly spat at responding officers. The child was unable to be engaged in any type of conversation. An ambulance was summoned to the scene for a mental health transport. The child was contained in the back of the patrol car until emergency personnel arrived, but continued to scream, kicking the door and window and threatening bodily harm to himself. The child was transported to ECMC, where he was turned over to staff, accompanied by both parents. Grand larceny. A 78-year-old male from East Aurora reported to be the victim of theft on Monday, December 15th. According to the report, the victim stated that in September he observed a bill on his credit card statement for nearly $3,600 that he did not make. The victim stated that he had contacted his bank's fraud unit and filed a claim over the above charge. The victim stated that the bank took the charge off of his bill, closed the account, and issued him a new credit card. Approximately 2 weeks ago, the report says the victim stated he received a letter in the mail from his bank declining the claim. He then spoke to a bank employee regarding the incident, who told him the bank would do a manual investigation because there was evidence showing the victim did not make the purchase. The victim stated the purchase was made using a different email than his, and the items were picked up at a business in East Aurora. The victim stated the items purchased were 6 underwater LED pool lights. The victim also obtained the name of the person who signed for the package. The victim went to the store to obtain video surveillance footage, but was told the footage they have in the store gets deleted after 30 days. The victim stated that he wanted the above incident documented. Domestic. A domestic incident was reported at 6:30 p.m. Friday, December 19th by a 22-year-old female from East Aurora. The complainant stated that the 2 tenants that live above her were loudly arguing and that this was a regular occurrence. Upon arrival, 2 individuals could be heard yelling at each other in an upstairs apartment. Contact was made with a 30-year-old female and the listed victim, who stated that she and her boyfriend, a 29-year-old male from East Aurora and listed subject, were having a verbal argument regarding laundry. The victim was observed to have scratch marks on her body, to which she responded that she was scratching herself due to anxiety. Blood was observed on her hand, to which she stated that she cut it on a glass pane window that broke while she was slamming it shut during the argument. The victim declined medical evaluation. The victim stated that this type of argument is a regular occurrence, but that the subject has never been physical with her and she does not fear him. The victim stated that she and the subject would remain separate for the evening. The subject corroborated the victim's version of events and stated the argument was verbal only. The subject also stated that the victim cut her hand when she broke a window that she was shutting in the dining room. The subject stated that he and the victim would remain separate for the evening and that he would be staying in his own apartment. A domestic incident report and victim's right form was issued to the victim. Order of protection. An order of protection was served to a 50-year-old male from East Aurora at 8 p.m. Monday, December 22nd. According to the report, the subject was advised of and given a copy of the order of protection. An affidavit of service was faxed to Erie County Family Court. Harassment. A domestic disturbance was reported at 7:30 p.m. on Saturday, December 27th. According to the report, a 52-year-old female and the listed victim stated that a verbal argument took place with a 51-year-old male and the listed subject over who she was texting. The victim stated that she received a text message and checked her watch to respond when the subject asked who had texted her. The victim then stated that the subject reportedly grabbed her wrist and took the watch. She stated he broke and damaged the watch. The victim stated that she was not injured and declined any medical evaluation. She also stated that she did not want to pursue any charges. The subject stated the same circumstances, but stated that the victim had also struck him in the nose. The subject also declined medical evaluation and declined to pursue any charges. Both parties stated they would separate for the night. The victim was advised that a domestic incident report would be completed. And you are listening to a reading of articles and features from the East Aurora Advertiser on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Okay, next we have the Erie County Sheriff's Report. DWI charges in Marilla following accident. Erie County Sheriff's deputies responded to a multiple vehicle accident on the intersection between Clinton Street and 3 Rod Road in Marilla on December 22nd. 2 vehicles were towed from the scene, and a third vehicle required a heavy wrecker to respond. Several people involved complained of pain and stated they would seek medical treatment on their own. After an interview and investigation, the driver that caused the accident was arrested for DWI. The driver was processed and released to a sober party. The vehicle was towed and placed under a 12-hour hold. In other area calls handled by the Erie County Sheriff's deputies out of the Clarence and Alma substation, December 18th, no incidents were reported on this date. December 19th, a person was reportedly causing a disturbance in a business on Olean Road in Wales. The individual left without an incident. December 20th, a resident of Schultz Road in Alma reported being bitten by a dog. The person was transported to a local hospital for further treatment of their injuries, and the case was referred to the dog control officer. A resident of Busch Gardens Street in Marilla reportedly being harassed by a known person. Everyone involved was advised to cease all contact, and no charges were filed. December 21st, a single vehicle accident occurred on Bolus Road in Alma. The driver was transported to a local hospital for further treatment of their injuries, and the vehicle was towed from the scene. A 2-vehicle accident happened on the intersection between Route 400 and Transit Road in Alma. No injuries were reported, and 1 vehicle towed from the scene while the other was driven away. A tree was blocking the roadway on Williston Road in Marilla, and the town highway was notified to pick it up. December 22nd, a resident of North Star Road in Alma reported being harassed by a known person. Evidence of the altercation was uploaded, and the incident was strictly documented. There are currently no criminal charges. A delivery business truck was struck in the snow on Pine Valley Road in Holland. An unauthorized person got into the truck to move it and got it stuck a second time down the street. The first tow company that was hired by the delivery business was unable to tow the vehicle, and the second tow agency, called by the Erie County Sheriff's Office, was able to tow the vehicle to safety. The delivery business declined charges for the operator that moved the vehicle without permission. A resident on Village Park Drive in the village of Alden reported an issue with a natural gas furnace and has no heat. The furnace was determined to be broken, and a strong smell of gas was detected. National Fuel responded to the scene. A man was arrested on Clinton Street in Marilla for DWI. He was processed and released on appearance tickets pending a court date. December 23, a 2-vehicle accident occurred on the intersection between Route 400 and Jamison Road in Alma. No injuries were reported, and both vehicles were driven from the scene. A 2-vehicle accident happened on the intersection between Clinton and Aurora Streets in Alma, but no injuries were reported. December 24th, loud music was reported from Transit Road in Alma. The source of the music was located in the homeowner, who agreed to turn the music down for the night. A locked vehicle was reported in a lot near the gate on Big Tree Road in Wales. The vehicle owner was assisted out of the lot by an employee. Okay, next we have 716 Charcuterie accepting orders. Started last spring by Chris and Kaylin Newman, 716 Charcuterie is a new catering business based in East Aurora. The couple joined Kaylin's love of hosting and Chris's background in entrepreneurship to start a family-run business that brings a unique and interactive food experience to the local area. Beyond the usual grazing style of charcuterie carts, this business has a service-oriented approach in which they set up, serve guests directly, and break down the display. The base of all their charcuterie boards is made up of various meats and cheeses that include salami, prosciutto, summer sausage, cheddar, pepper jack, and Gouda. This is then accompanied with a mix of seasonal fruits and vegetables and delicacies such as dried apricots and chocolate-covered pretzels. Customers are able to customize the physical cart to match the theme of an event, along with utilizing the high level of personalization that comes with the food boards themselves. Everything we do is customized and versatile, Chris Newman said. We really give hosts an open canvas while providing that service of actually serving the food. Dietary restrictions such as gluten-free and vegan options are available through the custom booking process, and Kaylin and Chris work to create new boards that everyone can enjoy. They can alter this service to include any dietary needs that a customer may have. December has been the busiest month for the business, as many customers are booking holiday-themed carts and are looking for new catering options for events around the holidays. 716 Charcuterie runs heavily on community feedback, and because of this, they have recently launched Cam's Cannolis. This expansion line is named after their son, and the couple has decided to provide various different types of cannolis to their guests. They have the tagline "Cannolis on the dance floor," since they have a fun family member always walking around events to serve cannolis with the mobile station. They are also about to debut a s'mores cart, which was designed for the region's colder weather. The 716 community craves new, cool ideas, Chris Newman said, emphasizing the importance of the community. For us, the cannoli line and the s'mores line was feedback we got from the community. Kaylin and Chris currently live in East Aurora and chose it as the home for their business due to its close-knit and supportive community. They are striving to one day have a storefront on Main Street. The business actively seeks partnerships with local farmers, markets, and artisans for quick turnarounds with particular items, and this aspect is driving the business to grow rapidly. Despite being a newer business, 716 Charcuterie has made strong connections with different farmers markets, other businesses around the town, and the community members they serve. To find out more about 716 Charcuterie, visit the Instagram or Facebook account at 716 Charcuterie. And then next we have Neighbors Helping Neighbors Drive helps during the holidays. Erie County Legislator Lindsay Lorigo announced the completion of her Neighbors Helping Neighbors donation drive, which collected essential household items to support families and individuals in need throughout Erie County this holiday season. The drive brought together residents, community organizations, and local partners across the region, resulting in hundreds of donations for area food pantries and outreach organizations. I'm incredibly grateful to everyone who took the time to donate and support this effort, Lorigo said. Because of the generosity of our community, many families will have the help they need during a particularly challenging time of year. Among the organizations receiving donations were the Rural Outreach Center, Bread of Life Outreach Center, West Seneca Community Food Pantry, Fish of East Aurora, Trading Post Community Care Center in Springville, and Love INC of Springville. This collaboration is exactly what our community needs, said Monique Brannon, Chief Operating Officer at the Rural Outreach Center. The support from Legislator Larigo's office and the many donors who participated will directly help families who are struggling to make ends meet. These donations will have an immediate and meaningful impact. Donation drop-off sites were hosted at community libraries, senior centers, school districts, and Concord Veteran Care Project, making participation accessible throughout the district. And then we have state parks are hiring police officers. New guidelines and requirements open the door to more applicants for a new class of park police candidates at the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation, State Parks. Applications to join the ranks of police officer protecting visitors to the state park system will be accepted until February 18th. Candidates must be at least 20 years old at the time of hire and must not have passed their 43rd birthday as of October 1st. Previously, it was 35 years old. The state is looking for candidates with education and experience that includes 60 college semester credit hours completed by June 30th, military service or municipal police training. State Parks maintains a welcoming environment and offers new recruits hands-on field work and classroom education in criminal procedure law, penal law, vehicle and traffic law, park and recreation law, and criminal investigations. Recruits receive training in firearms, first response, snowmobile operation, ATV operation, emergency vehicle operation, and a variety of other law enforcement-related topics and skills. For more information, visit parks.nyc.gov/about/park-police/new-applicants. And you're listening to a reading of articles and features from the East Aurora Advertiser on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Okay, next we have, let's see here, new law will expand state education department services. Senator Patrick M. Gallivan said legislation to establish a Center for Dyslexia and Dysgraphia within the New York State Education Department has been signed into law by the governor. Gallivan co-sponsored the bill, which is intended to help children with the disorders learn to read and become successful students. Studies have shown that as many as 1 in 5 children have dyslexia or another phonematic awareness issue, but there is currently no comprehensive statewide approach to identifying and addressing their needs. Research has demonstrated that early identification of dyslexia and dysgraphia, combined with a proper intervention and instruction, can drastically improve educational outcomes for these children, Gallivan said. The state must establish best practices to better support students and help them succeed. In 2024, a legislator-supported task force composed of teachers, school leaders, education experts, and individuals with dyslexia or dysgraphia and their families issued a report on how best to address the issue in public schools. The group made 14 recommendations pertaining to screening, professional development, reading interventions, and other educational support. It also called for the creation of a state-level center for dyslexia and dysgraphia. The Senate and Assembly passed legislation in June to establish the center. Governor Kathy Hochul signed it into law in December 2025. Okay, our next article is Hooked, Harvested, and Headed Forward into 2026. The calendar pages have thinned quickly, and for the new year, outdoor-minded Western New Yorkers find themselves doing what comes natural this time of year, reflecting on seasons past and dreaming about the ones ahead. From Lake Erie open water walleye fishing to scouting the hardwood ridges, from ice-covered harbor walls to snow-covered trails, 2025 will be remembered as a banner year for outdoor recreation across Erie County, Chautauqua County, and throughout the counties of Western New York. Few stories shine brighter than Lake Erie walleye fishing. By almost any measure, 2025 delivered one of the best walleye years in recent memory. Tournament anglers enjoyed a packed schedule with more than 11 competitive events, drawing regional and national attention, impressive weights, and strong participation. Just as meaningful, however, was the success enjoyed by everyday anglers, families, retirees, and first-time visitors who simply enjoyed feeling the thump of a strike and bringing home a fresh meal. Healthy forage, strong recruitment, and sound management combined to make Lake Erie a true destination fishery once again, reinforcing Western New York's reputation as a world-class angling region. Even more that can be said for the smallmouth bass and yellow perch fishery. On land, the fall woods told a similar story of abundance. Deer hunters reported strong success during the 2025 seasons with plentiful deer sightings and healthy harvests of both bucks and does. From seasoned hunters to many newcomers filling a tag for the first time. From seasoned hunters to many newcomers filling a tag for the first time, freezers across the region were stocked with heart-healthy venison. Beyond the harvest numbers, the season delivered something equally important: time spent outdoors with family and friends, quiet mornings on stand, and a continued appreciation for wildlife conservation practices that ensure healthy herds for future generations. Looking ahead to 2026, optimism is especially strong along the Lake Erie shoreline in Dunkirk. The Northern Chautauqua County Conservation Club continues to move forward with plans to establish a steelhead fish pen in Dunkirk Harbor, pending approval from the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. If approved, the project would provide a significant boost to steelhead survival rates during stocking, improving returns to local tributaries, and enhancing a fishery that already brings substantial economic and recreational benefits to the locale. It represents the kind of grassroots conservation effort that has long defined outdoor stewardship in Western New York. Trail users also have much to celebrate as they plan for the year ahead. Hikers, mountain bikers, and snowmobilers saw meaningful trail expansions and improvements in 2025. Volunteer-driven efforts and cooperative partnerships with landowners and municipalities helped connect routes, improve signage, and enhance access. These expanded trail systems not only support recreation, but also encourage tourism, healthy lifestyles, and four-season enjoyment of the outdoors. With winter sports poised to benefit from improved snowmobile corridors and warmer months offering new biking and hiking options, 2026 promises fresh adventure for trail enthusiasts of all kinds. Across Western New York, conservation-oriented groups are entering the new year with renewed momentum. Sportsmen clubs, environmental organizations, and community volunteers continue to balance recreation with responsibility, protecting habitat, educating the next generation, and advocating for science-based management of fish and wildlife resources. Their collective efforts form the backbone of Western New York's outdoor success and ensure that access and opportunity remain available to all. One issue that remains front and center as 2026 approaches is the ongoing challenge of weed and algae growth in Chautauqua Lake. While progress has been made, many lake users agree that more must be done. Aquatic vegetation management is critical, not only for boating and fishing access, but also for water quality, ecosystem balance, and the local economies that are dependent on tourism. As discussions continued, there is growing hope that additional state and federal funding can be secured to support long-term solutions. Collaboration among lake associations, municipalities, scientists, and regulatory agencies will be essential to develop strategies that are both effective and environmentally responsible. The broader picture is one of gratitude and anticipation. Last year reminded us how valuable our natural resources are and how much joy they bring when conditions align and stewardship succeeds. It also reinforces the importance of planning, advocacy, and community involvement as we look to the future. Whether it's a walleye tugging at your line in Lake Erie, a white-tailed deer stepping into a forest opening, the splash of a steelhead across creekside waters, or the crunch of snow under boots on a newly opened trail, these experiences define life outdoors in Western New York looking forward. As the new year begins, the message is clear. Be thankful for what 2025 provided, remain committed to conservation, and step into 2026 with excitement and purpose. The outdoors of Western New York are not just places on a map. They are shared traditions, economic engines, and sources of inspiration. With continued cooperation and care, the coming year holds promise for even greater adventures ahead. Let's welcome the new year with a new energy. The way December came on, we might plan a trip south for a getaway and explore nature there too. Gotta love the outdoors. And you have been listening to a reading of articles and features from the Thursday, January 1st, 2026 issue of the East Aurora Advertiser. We read from the East Aurora Advertiser every Saturday at 10 a.m. Your reader has been Karen, and thank you very much for listening, and take care of yourself and have a good day. Okay, bye-bye.
Coming up next on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, we have a reading of the Niagara Gazette. At noon, we have the Dunkirk Observer. And at 1 o'clock, we have some of our Northtown Bees, including Amherst, Clarence, Cheektowaga, Lancaster, and Depew. Stay with us for these readings and more throughout the day. You're listening to the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. As of this year, our agency has broadcast more than 300,000 hours of radio readings. Volunteer radio readers read newspapers, magazines, and books to area people who are blind or have a print disability, who are provided reading radios. Radio Reading's broadcast signal is provided at no charge by WNED. Radio Reading broadcasts from studios at 1199 Harlem Road in suburban Buffalo. Please let others know about Radio Reading. It's your service. For more information on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, call 716-821-5555. The following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision, or have another print disability which makes reading, holding a book, or turning a page difficult or impossible. The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Hello, this is Paul Denning, and for the next hour, I'll be reading from current issues of the Niagara Gazette on the Niagara Frontier radio reading service. This is from January 3rd and 4th. A piece of Bill's history. Falls caretaker of infamous Bill's goal post reflects on final regular season game at Highmark Stadium. It's written by Mark Shear. Sunday's final regular season game at Highmark Stadium in Orchard Park has many Buffalo Bills fans reminiscing about the best of times and occasionally the worst of times they've experienced while visiting the team's home stadium over the past 52 years. One of the most memorable games for fans old enough to remember what happened on September 7, 1980, when the Bills, after years of trying, finally took down the rival Miami Dolphins at what was then known as Rich Stadium. The game lives on in Bills lore, in part because of what it meant for the franchise. The Bills emerged from the decade of the 1970s and finally beat the Dolphins 17-7, snapping a decade-long 20-game losing streak against the Finns. After the game, jubilant Bills fans stormed the field. Some of those fans, including a contingent from Niagara Falls, walked out of the stadium that day with a unique piece of history. Pieces of the goalposts that were torn down.
The following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision,